What's up, guys? This is Andrix.
I'm Leo King, and it's electronic generation time.
Hell yeah. Man, so...
I know, I was just going to say, man, it's been a minute.
It has. It really has.
But it didn't go anywhere. You pulled the show off for the last 2 weeks.
No, I wouldn't say that. I you know, yeah, I put the show up, but I just felt that I was just connected and tapped into what you were doing, what everyone was doing, and it was just very natural.
It came out natural, but you pulled it off because not only was I stuck in the desert, but then the week before that, just, I don't know, life happens, you know, and you kept it going. And I think the hardest thing about doing these shows is continue to keep pushing it. And that's like my whole MO is what I tell people all the time, like, keep doing a video every day. Trust me on that one.
Totally.
And I couldn't pull through, and you pulled it through. So bravo to you. And you had, not only did you just do like a normal episodes, people should watch if you haven't watched the last couple episodes, because you had awesome interviews with 4 Strings and all these great artists. You brought so much. You were in Japan. You brought Japanese EDM and dance music to the scene. I mean, that's a lot of stuff.
It was a lot. It was a lot to do. But the value of just people being able to, that's what I was excited about. I was like, fuck, dude, I can't wait for people to actually see this and actually, because what's going on in Japan is literally the same thing that's going on here.
Yeah.
As far as the music scene, the culture, they have more confidence in their government a little bit, but there's some sort of conspiracy going on there too. People are wearing masks because all the pollution that's going on.
What about Fukushima? Are people tripping out still about that?
No, at least nobody. Japan's a very interesting culture. Everyone keeps to themselves. No one stares at each other. Everyone looks down.
Would I look funny if I went to Japan with you and I just started doing this? And did my creep ball? Hey, yo!
They would probably be like, oh, tourists. That's it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And there's a ton of tourists there. But, it's just a very respectful society, and it's almost like its own planet. It's hard to say. It's almost like they have their own ecosystem. It's kind of like, I kind of envision like that's where America would be like 100, 200 years from now, when we've used up all the real estate and we just have to build up, and we're so close to each other that we have to learn to respect one another. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
Well, one of my favorite movies of all time is Interstellar 555, which Daft Punk did, and it was actually done, I can't say he's a Japanese guy, but he's one of the best animators ever, and he created a movie based off Daft Punk's album Discovery, which is their #1 album of all time, with One More Time and all those big songs, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, it's interesting because that was 2003, and the whole entire dance music scene has been huge in Japan for a long time, but you really don't like...
Totally.
They're not very like brash with it as kind of Vegas is, right? Yeah. Or even England, or, like...
They are the most modest society, or I mean, you're right. I think it starts with Vegas, then Hollywood, and then the UK. I mean, we were just talking about Pete Tong. I think Pete Tong could have been way bigger. I mean, he's huge, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But Pete's never been like, look at me, look at me, look at me. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many, like, I don't know. They're like all the new guys nowadays. They're just throwing up their Instagrams and, this and that. And honestly, even us, the newer generation is like, we understand natively what branding is.
Yeah, totally.
But in that generation, branding was letting the work do all the talking.
Yeah, no, it is weird. I mean, it's hard to have a show when you have so many things that come into it, right? Like, you can start from as basic as on your cell phone all the way to like here where we're at a set. But the main thing is like, what is the purpose of the show? What's the culture behind the show? And there's a lot of shows that have that, but then there's a lot of shows that kind of miss the mark, And you have to find your way. Your first, 10 episodes, we're on episode 9, you start to find your way.
Totally, yeah. It's 9 episodes. It's been like, it feels like a long time. It feels like we grew a lot within those 9 episodes.
Yeah, I'm ready for Social Security to kick in. I feel old now, Like, it feels like, I'm getting grays and I'm wearing Just for Men. But that's like kind of how I feel. Like I actually am really lax, if you can tell right now.
Totally.
Just because there's been so much going on, not only in the
yeah.
universe right now, but I feel like trying to keep everything going is a hard task when you dedicate to something.
You know, it is, and I think that's why this works. I think this relationship we have, first of all, with you and I, and then the audience, and then the production team. I think it works because it's very, it's almost like we're part of this master plan, and for whatever reason, the universe has equipped us with the tools and talent and the situation. Because I could have been just the slightest difference in our lives. We could be living in another country or not even born. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But for whatever reason, we're here, we're doing this show, and it's not just a regular show. I mean, the show is like, we call it a show for lack of a better term, but really it's like a mission almost.
Yeah.
It's almost like a movement. I don't even want to say movement, because even calling that is sort of cheesy. But, you know, it's a talk, reality, engagement, life, connecting the dots. And everybody, it's like everybody's involved, like from all walks of life, corners of the world. You know, when I'm in Japan, and it's not only that, but really, if you think about it, it started here with the dance music scene. Because when we go to dance music events, especially the big ones, we meet people from all walks of life.
Oh yeah, more so than anywhere else in the world. Do I meet more crazy people, right, than at a dance music event? That's where I'm like, oh man, look at, where are you from? Oh yeah.
From all generations, right? From all
the time.
all ages, all countries, especially the big ones. Like, so.
But what I've noticed about this show is like, there's the dance music people who are like, thank you, I love this show. And then there's people who really kind of never got into it, but they like dance music, and then they like, it ruffles their feathers.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about this show, is like, so many people have been like, why do you do this show? And I'm like, because I love this. Like you said, I don't know if it's a movement, but there's nobody talking about all this stuff and connecting it with a higher purpose and connecting the electronic world. And I think that's, you know, a good statement of where kind of, I think a lot of what we're talking about today in this show is like, the engagement with not only like humanity at large and how to engage with people, but how to sustain, I think, a show, how to sustain a movement, how to sustain things, because so many things in this world just fall to the wayside.
Totally.
Especially in the club music scene, right? Like I think you and I started one night for me called Haven. It went like 4 weeks, and then I was burnt out and I couldn't do it anymore.
Well, you know,
or the club was like, let's change and do something else, or, you know, it's like so many things in this world show up, and then they kind of, a lot like relationships, right? Like you can meet a lot of people, and they're just like leaves that fall off the tree, but it's very hard to find roots with people, you know.
I think you're absolutely right. I think it's, you know, there's two things that you said there that I kind of that kind of struck a chord with me, and one is, you know, you got to be consistent, and you just got to keep at it. And number two, the other thing I kind of decoded off of what you just said is, you got to try different things.
Yeah.
And you know, we tried a weekly. We've done many weeklies, but we did try a project together called Haven. Honestly, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. But something like this, I think it's working. I don't even think. I just feel. It's just very natural. It's sort of like, for me, the value that you and I are getting out of it, and I think the production team, and I think the audience is getting out of the value that they're getting out of it, is beyond money, is beyond anything that you can necessarily quantify. You know, it's
just pure heart, passion, spreading information, bringing up topics. You know, if we could help people along the way, that's great, of course, too. But I think it's mainly just bringing up topics that aren't being really talked about on a show format right now at all.
No, it isn't. It isn't. And not only that, but I think the other thing is we could easily turn this into a cookie cutter show too. You know.
But it would be boring that way.
Exactly. And you know, there is a lot of room. I think the only rule we have is let's do it once a week at 6 o'clock at Monday. That's it.
Yeah,
That's about
I
the
know.
only rule we literally have. And everything
True.
else is kind of like we have this kind of like invisible conversation with each. I actually think you and I communicate on some level on ESP.
Right,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
No, it's true.
On a sixth sense.
Well, it's just like when we DJ together.
Yeah.
We figure out how to make the set work and all that stuff. Like to sustain a show, there's a lot of cost involved. There's a lot of things involved. There's a production crew involved. There's also trying to come up with the content. There's a lot that comes up with it, but it's just the same as being a DJ or being in the club scene. Like to put an event on is gnarly. Sometimes people take it for granted. Like people are like, man, I came here, did this. Like, oh man, okay. Like, you realize what's going on, the big scope of things. You realize all the people here putting this together. Sometimes, I don't think people, they like to, there's so much trash talking right now on the internet. Like that's where everybody just throws all their shit. Just like, fuck you, don't like your shit, get rid of that, stop doing that. It's like, I don't mind criticism, but when it comes from a place where it's like, did you actually think about all the other things going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially like this show, right? There's a lot of cost involved. There's a lot of things involved. There's a lot.
There's opportunity costs. I mean, we could be doing something else with our time. On the back end, I think it's 1 hour here, but I don't know if people are aware of this, but there's a lot of hours put behind the editing and preparing, the thought
But
behind
that's
this.
just like DJing. Like people think
exactly.
DJing's just show up, play tracks,
Yeah.
which I'll admit I do that. But there were hours researching the tracks. There were hours putting them into, now, of course, it's 2018, so I'm not going to lie, I have folders of USBs.
Totally.
It's not CDs no more.
Yeah. Well,
You know.
your experience compounded.
Yeah. So, but there's a lot of time that goes into that. To be able to, when you show up, do your thing. Whether it's on the show, we're doing our thing, or live DJing sets. The real DJs put the work in. The real DJs spend the time and the energy, but you can tell the ones that are just showing up and playing tracks and really aren't playing them, and
They're going through the motions.
they're going through the motions, and
They look like a DJ, but
I was just in Vegas for the last 3 days, okay? I literally got back today. I drove here this morning. Maybe that's why I'm a little, I was in Vegas for 3 days. But man, the music there is so different.
Which club did you hit?
Well, I was at the Encore, so XS is right there. And so my buddy, Tyler Olson, he goes, there's a house club on Sunday nights now at XS. I go,
Really?
really?
Yeah, really.
So I was interested, and I wanted to hear what their idea of house was, and it was not house at all. I was like, what? You know what's going off there is Encore Beach Club.
Yeah. Oh, the day clubs.
The day
at
club
Vegas
at
are
Encore
well-known.
Beach is
Yeah.
killing it.
Yeah, for sure.
Killing it.
They gotta-
Somebody told me at the front desk, I was talking to him about it, and he goes, I'm gonna be honest with you, we make $1 million a day at Encore Beach Club, and we're making more money in our clubs, XS, Encore Beach Club, than gambling.
Wow.
And that's what struck me
I believe it.
huge, was I was like, the clubs now in Vegas are making more money than the gambling downstairs.
I believe it. Look, put it this way, at least from my standpoint, I mean, I could be biased because I'm into the music,
Right.
But if I had billions of dollars and just of just fuck you money, I would rather drop it on like 100, 200 grand on the best table at a nightclub and invite
Everybody you know and have the best time of your life, yeah.
Then actually,
And even maybe hire the DJ that you want
Totally.
for that night.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That's a way better, for me that's a way better value. And I think a lot of people, they get that. I think that's what the dance music scene in Vegas and everywhere is offering people now. This premium, high energy, super just high production experience, right? They're just getting their mind blown away by the music, audio, visual, and like sensual.
Yeah, and
hot
that's
women went around, alcohol, drugs.
That's the thing is like so XS for example. Sure, it's been around for a while, but it's also another indoor party, right? Because they have the pool, right, and then they have the inside, right? And so last night when I was watching the house thing, it's like the pool's just all lit up. They have LEDs around the pool, everything. It's such a unique thing, right? And I was thinking, okay, so they're making more money now on clubs than gambling in the casino, which I would say that if you look at all the other clubs in Vegas, that's a true statement probably as well. Right. With Hakkasan all the way to Omnia, like all those clubs, right? I don't know though, because Caesar's Palace has a pretty big.
It's huge.
Caesar's Palace is massive.
Yeah.
Like Encore and Wynn are big, but I could see them making more money with that. But Caesar's, I don't know.
Right.
Because they're massive, and a lot of gamblers go to Caesar's.
Yeah. No,
but.
that's true.
But for the most part, it's like, wow, the scene right now is a win-win in Vegas. But when you go outside of Vegas, it's harder to get people to a club because they're not surrounded by the club, right? So when you go to Vegas, it's kind of like, I could go to any front desk, right?
Yeah.
Or go to the front where the taxis are and just be like, take me to this club. Boom, you're instantly down there, and we were talking about this on the phone about the promoters. You were calling them like Wall Street peeps, It's like true. They're hustlers. They're real hustlers. If you find promoters in LA, OC, New York, I'm sorry to say, you motherfuckers are weak. Vegas promoters were hitting up my wife this weekend. Non-stop on Instagram because we tweeted, or we not only did we tweet, but we Instagrammed Vegas, #Vegas. Because my wife's beautiful, every promoter hit her up on Instagram, offering her free bottles and tables. It was pretty crazy.
What's interesting to me is, I don't know if people see this or maybe it's just me, but again, I could be biased. But when the whole, the real estate kind of, that whole mortgage meltdown, when that happened, to me, it felt like, well, first there was the .com. That was the big one, right?
Yeah.
And then everyone went over to real estate mortgage.
Right.
And then I felt like a lot, some people still stayed in mortgage and then they started starting like credit. But there's a lot of people that went into nightclubs, especially in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I felt like that became, obviously dance music, it's not as big as a bubble as the .com and, the mortgage real estate.
But it's...
People shifted to that. Because that's a six-figure business.
It is.
Like the Vegas host, imagine
if you're getting 20,000 people tables there, it's like
10%. That's nice little $2,000 deal right there. That's just one customer.
Well, that was the thing too. Like you want a table there, it's $2,000 minimum for the cheapest one.
Totally.
So that guy's making $200.
Yeah.
And he's hitting up my wife all day saying, oh, it's going to be free, it's going to be free. And the second she goes, oh, well, I'm with my girlfriend and her boyfriend and my husband, they turn the tide on you. Oh, that's only if you bring 6 girls for free. They don't put that in the...
Oh, they set it up.
Yeah, they set you up real good. Comp bottle, comp this, only, but then afterwards they tell you.
It's definitely mentally scripted.
So what's your favorite club in Vegas?
I like Omnia. Omnia for sure, hands down. I mean, with the chandelier and the that amazing structure. I mean, it's concert installation in a nightclub. I mean, that's you can't really beat that.
No, I would agree. I would say, and it's the only club that's on the strip that you can see, right? I mean, Encore Beach Club, they have the sign like when you go on Vegas Boulevard, but like Omnia, you can like see Omnia. It's on the strip. It's like you can like physically see it. It's really cool. It's
the story behind Omnia is also really cool. There's a video online. I'm not, I don't want to go into it, but people can find it on YouTube. But the management team that they got to handle it is like legendary from the UK. So they took like it's brand new venue obviously, but they took knowledge from like guys that really been doing it for a long time successfully. I think it was the owner of Gatecrasher. I forget what his name was, Neil something. But I mean, he's like what they've done with Omnia and the talent and stuff, it's just, just totally remarkable. And the great thing is, unlike a lot of venues, it is really fucking hard as talent to get in there. It is really,
Yeah, they're just
really
not throwing
fucking hard.
anybody in there.
No, even openers.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's like,
literally.
like you just can't say, oh, I'm playing Omnia.
Yeah, and it's so easy for them to be like,
It's like not wedding DJs.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is
Or bar
really-
DJs.
So
Because you see a lot of the cross-pollination of a
you do.
bar DJ and a club DJ, especially locally right
Totally,
here.
right.
Like, or like some people kind of, they want to make their money, so they're going to play a club or they're going to play a bar. But I notice if you go too far to the bar scene, the club scene kind of looks at you a little like...
It does, because then you start kind of watering it down. It just,
Yeah, like you kind of have to stick with clubs or bars and pick a side.
I think that's what
That's a
Omnia's-
good subject in itself. We never
it
even
is.
talked about it, but
it is, and it's very subtle. But the people that the bar scene, there's also a lot there's just a whatever bar, but there's also secret bars.
Yeah.
And really like niche bars.
yeah, niche bars. Yeah.
But Vegas is kind of like it's like this huge, like Omnius is like this huge, massive, biggest commercial venue. But here's an interesting story. Last time I played there with Armin, my friend tried to book a table where the DJ booth is, and he bought a bottle. He wanted to buy a bottle of XO, which is I believe like $1,200, and the waitress turned him down. Like, we can't sell you anything here. That's it. If you want to buy, you got to go somewhere else. Another table. This table is not. We can't. And it was like, $1,200 is a lot of money.
Right.
But for Vegas is nothing, apparently. So that, they wouldn't take his money. But yet they were giving away comp bottles. They wouldn't accept his money.
That's
So-
cool. I mean, that's kind of crazy. But this is funny because bringing up that story and connecting this. So my wife and I were thinking this weekend, it's like, gosh, you can get a nice suite for pretty cheap in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
But everywhere else, it's super expensive. But it's also the cheapest city in America to live in.
Right,
It's the
right.
weirdest place
Yeah.
because, like, I'm not even bullshitting. I ordered some waters and just some Sprites because I don't drink alcohol, and my wife had just a little store. It was like $50. Then we ordered room service yesterday because we were just so tired.
Right.
It was like $150 for room service for just 2 meals. Right? It's Vegas, right?
Yeah.
So like, but they get you in like in
Totally.
the cheap room, so you go, oh yeah, it's gonna be a great weekend, and then you're like, oh wait, this much to do this? Oh wait, it's this much to do that?
It's definitely, it's very high level bait and switch, I would call
Yeah,
it.
oh yeah. But and even in the promotions and all that stuff, or even that, like, oh no, we can't sell you a bottle. Like what?
Well, it's
It's kind of unpredictable.
it is.
Vegas
because
is unpredictable.
here, what I deciphered out of that situation was 1,000 is probably not good enough. But if it was like 50 or 100 grand, you probably would have done it.
Yeah.
'Cause it was like right by the DJ booth. So things like that, in order to retain value, it's a whole. And somebody has a question on marketing, and this kind of touches base about that. I think good marketing, and I think it was Christopher who asked the question. And by the way, anytime anybody has a question, feel free to message us. We've got
Message us, yeah, on,
Yeah, we're
on his or
checking our
mine.
phones.
We're on all.
we've
Leo
got
King,
people that are helping us
Andrex,
and letting us know.
Electronic Generation, all three.
But Christopher
I'm on
asked,
my iWatch getting all the
You are?
questions.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. That's why. So yeah, I think one of the things that makes good marketing, amazing, great marketing, is being able to be outside of people's reach, being able to be beyond money, right? Being able to be priceless.
Yeah.
I think that's what this show has. Easily you and I can be bought out, and we've given up money to do this show, but it's priceless what we have. So the value, I think that's a whole different side of marketing that I didn't really understand. I was doing it when I became a DJ 12 years ago, when I gave up my corporate job. I didn't get it. I didn't understand.
Yeah, by
that.
putting out like a free mix or something, right? Like it's like you're giving something of value that
Exactly.
people are going to enjoy.
Well, you just do what you
Yeah.
follow your heart.
Yeah,
Like,
you follow
you know, it was a passion, but along the way, 12 years, and this happens in Silicon Valley all the time. With this all the innovation, you know, all these geniuses creating these ideas, and they're doing it because they just, you know, they just do it out of passion. They just want to come up with the next technology, and next thing you know, it's like, you know, a VC comes in, and it's like, here's you know, millions of dollars to start up your company.
And 90-something% of those fail.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there is no passion. It's kind of all
well,
logical.
now it's become, you know, now people are getting, they're like, oh, okay, so that's, now, once people understand something, then they start manipulating that concept. It's not pure anymore.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
that's the big thing with me with this, what we're doing too, because, dude, we understand very well what we're doing. We're not, you know, is marketing, and we understand, because people ask me all the time, oh, how do you guys monetize and all this stuff? Do we have a plan? Absolutely. But we don't, you know, that's like, we can afford to put that idea on ice for a while and just fucking like enjoy.
Figure the format out.
Exactly. Figure the format out and just enjoy. Like the first number one thing is, are we getting value? Everyone here, are we getting value out of it? And is that value, like, is it unique compared to anything else out there?
Yeah, sometimes you have to do some soul searching, I call it, like to find the value of anything. It's like a relationship too, right? Like sometimes you got to go all the way down to the end of the road till you know.
But you got to eliminate things, though. You got to eliminate stuff like money. You got to eliminate like things that'll fuck up your, you know, will cloud your thinking, right? I think money is the biggest. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for money. Like, you know, I love earning a living, but I don't want to earn a living for the sake of earning a living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to make $1 million for the sake of making $1 million, so I could brag to my friends or my parents or whatever. That doesn't, you know, that does nothing for me. You know what I mean? Because it's like, dude, like the process of that takes up fucking time.
Yeah.
You know, in order to make that kind of money, that, you know, there's a lot of ways to get to that destination, but it's gonna take up a shitload of your time. And what if you fucking die along the way and didn't enjoy that? You know what I mean?
You have to enjoy it.
Right.
My answer to that marketing question is always be a place that people want to show back up to every day without being seen in the feed. Right? So naturally, like being like, oh, I want to check in on these people. I want to check in on this person.
Totally.
Because that was the old way.
Right.
Like the MySpace way, right? It was like, oh, I'm going to go check on my friend. That's why he was my top friend. There was no feed on MySpace. Do you remember that?
No, there wasn't.
There was no feed. It was just going to people's pages, and that was it. And putting a comment on it, that was all. And then I think they brought up the feed of just comments.
Totally.
Or if you updated a profile picture, I think that was pretty much about it.
It's
so long ago, MySpace, I'm actually forgetting what the feed was.
Right.
But I know it wasn't as intricate as what we see on Facebook today.
Oh,
or on Instagram even. Or, you know, it was much more like, oh, who do I want to go see? Oh, let me go find them. And I would do profile like, oh yeah, I'm going to go check him out to go find her to find her. It would be like bam, 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 you know what I mean?
Right.
But you would like want to go check it out.
Yeah.
That's the best marketing. When you can, and in today's age, when you naturally are going to go search in the title for the person or the brand or something, instead of just naturally see it pop up and then go, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Or follow it because you're hoping it'll just pop up in your feed when you want.
Yeah.
The ultimate marketing is when you can make a product or content that every day you're like, I want to go check this fucking shit out right now.
No, it's totally, I absolutely agree with you. And it's interesting you bring that up because I do that a lot, actually. I actually, you know, if you're not popping up, I'm like, where's fucking David? Because he's always popping up live. And so I'm like searching for you, you know? And I'm doing that subliminally. And you're, you know, the fact that you brought that up is very interesting because now I'm aware of it. The other thing that you brought up that is very interesting is the newsfeed. We talked about this many times before, and people understand this, but the newsfeed is such a psychological fucking mind twist, right?
It is.
Because it's like this whole fucking rainfall or a waterfall of shit showering down on you. And you're just like, boom, it's just like.
And it's changed. I've actually been looking at the news feed and myself looking, 60 to 70% of it is shared, like news articles
Totally.
or shared like weird little stupid videos that are like 2 minutes long, like
Right.
Goalcast or about some story
Exactly.
quick or whatever, that Facebook is actually paying people to do.
Right.
So we're watching actually what Facebook wants us to watch now.
No, I agree.
The newsfeed is not anymore what you really want to watch unless you set it up that way by going to the people yourself or setting that see first, which I recommend you all do right now if
Totally.
you like the show. But you know, that's it. Everything else is being subliminally shown to you.
You know, it's just like advertising now, right?
Yeah.
It's like I go to my Yahoo or my Gmail and fucking like Nike shoes pops up because I buy Nikes. And now
You're a
they
Nike guy, yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, dude, like this is great. And I actually click on it and I bought stuff from those ads before.
Right.
But it's just kind of like, well, this is how everything is customized. I mean, marketing has become so smart now
I know.
to the point where it's good and bad, right? Because then now you're kind of like, it kind of feeds the consumerism. And if you're not aware, you're going to buy shit that you may not need.
Well, that's what I'll be honest, on Instagram, I fall for all that fucking stupid bullshit.
Yeah.
Instagram, I'm the number one fault. It's like, I literally bought last week, it just shipped today, LED glow lights for my toilets. So I don't have to turn the light on at night so I can piss in some fucking blue water.
Yeah.
You know, that's awesome. But to me, I think that's awesome. But I saw it on Instagram, bought that shit.
Yeah.
Boom. But you're right about the Google ads, you know, it's crazy. Like, you know, if you're looking at adult toys or something and you're on your email at work and you're like screen sharing with someone and they go, what's that dildo ad popped up on your fucking, on your mail? Oh, nothing. Just looking at some toys the other day. I don't know.
Have you ever thought about deactivating your account for a day?
Oh, so actually, you know what? You bring up the best subject. There's a lot of people deactivating from
Totally.
Facebook and everything. Yeah. No, I'm not going to deactivate.
Well, you make a living off of it, but instead, you know, you pull
I
back.
think, well,
Right? That's
I'm
what I
not,
do.
yeah, and I wouldn't do that to people. But I think that Mark Zuckerberg's in a really hard spot right now.
Right.
Like Tim Cook from Apple put that motherfucker down the other day and said, I would never be in this issue because I don't allow an app to come on my thing until we vet it fully. Right? So Apple's very like the Gestapo. Like it's very like
They filter very.
they're like
that's from Steve.
honestly they're the biggest communists like ever, you know, like
Yeah.
really
They
Apple is
really are.
communist.
It's
They are.
it's interesting
but
you
like
bring that up, yeah.
Facebook has actually been very liberal in
They
how
are,
they do
yeah.
things, and
Yeah.
they've gotten into a weird spot here. And I think, let's be honest, there's way more people on Facebook than Apple, number one, because half the world's going to be on PC, or half the world's going to be on Apple, or half the world's going to be, there's actually, I think it's 70% Android to Apple.
Totally.
So there's way more people that Mark's dealing with. The motherfucker has, I was looking, he has over 170 million followers or something crazy like that.
Right.
170 million followers on his page. Just that alone would drive me insane. He's got 2 billion people on
Right. That
the
he's
site
responsible for.
that he's responsible for. So I think it's good what's going on with Facebook and figuring their stuff out. I hope it all gets done the right way. I'll be honest with you, I could give a flying fuck about my private information.
Yeah.
The second I signed up, I gave my birthday, my name. I'm signing into my phone. Like, if anybody, I'm sorry, you're an idiot if you think your information is safe the second you put it out there to some other third-party resource.
Totally.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like, and what is it? What? Oh, they know that information? There's creepballs, and actually there's creepballs who follow me on YouTube and stuff that purposely seek out on these pages where you can pay $24 and get
Totally.
all the information you want on anybody. So, to be honest with
If
you,
somebody wants to find out shit about you, they're
they'll
going to
find
find
it
out.
out.
Yeah. they're gonna
So
find out.
I'm not tripping out about the whole Facebook thing. You know, I'm really not. I don't know what you guys all out there are thinking about this whole Facebook thing.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what, you know, because our platform is built on Facebook Live.
Yeah, at the moment.
Yeah. Right. So.
So there's a lot of things coming up for us. We got a couple tours individually coming up.
We do. Yeah.
Why don't you talk about yours first?
Well, for me, you know, this is always, traveling has always been a passion of mine, and I never really had the opportunity to because I was just working so much. but with EG and everything, and honestly, I think the key is trying, for me, okay, so let's take it back to value. How do you get the most value out of your time? And for me, I've got so many different passions just like you. And sometimes people tell me, you know, you got to pick and choose, you can't have it all. But I think with EG, the way we're running it, I think we can. That's what I'm excited about, because what Japan showed me was we had Kyle and we had Brandon here. They did the interview for 4 Strings and Johan Gillen. And I was in Japan at the same time, you know, well, I don't even know how many thousands of miles was away, but half the world away, you know, on the other side of the continent. I was doing an interview with Tomo, who...
yeah, that was a cool interview. Where was that spot? It was like the Japan EDM. What was that place?
It was his office, which is now a 3X satellite Tokyo office. And he's had that office for over 10 years. And, you know, he's been around for a very long time. Very cool guy. He wrote the theme song to the soundtrack of The Ring.
Yeah.
He's got stuff out on the Reveal Hard World's label, and he also does interviews. He goes to Tomorrowland, does interviews with big artists. He's got his hands in a lot of things. So it's nice. And the other thing is he's been around for 30 years. So it's nice to like
get his perspective on things, yeah.
Which is literally the same perspective as ours.
Yeah.
Which is like mind blowing, because I'm like, you know, I was like, well, how's the new generation of Japanese DJs? What are they, you know, do you see the next Japanese Calvin Harris or Avicii coming up? And he was like, he flat out was like, no, Japanese people still think DJing is scratching. And, you know, basically all the Japanese clubs, all the club owners want is for the Japanese DJs to bring as many friends as they can. That's
right.
it. I'm like, that's exactly like US.
Yeah, exactly.
And in Europe too. And you know, people tell me the same story. So I'm dying to go to Europe. That's my next trip.
So that's where you're going to take your tour to?
Yeah. Europe is it's always been on the bucket list, but not just necessarily just for traveling, but I think what you know, for me, it's showing people the world through our eyes, right? Yeah. And it's not just, you know, like I'm a big Anthony Bourdain fan.
Right.
And I think what Anthony does is art, because he tells it from a cook's standpoint, right? He's a chef. So he, and on his Instagram, it actually says former chef. That's it. Formerly made my living as a cook. And it's great, I love it. But now, you know, in the last 20 years, he's been touring the world, telling it through the eyes of a chef. And, you know, as we know, food and fashion and art and music, they're so interrelated, because it's, you know, with food, obviously, just like music, you have all this knowledge that's been passed down from generations, and there's all this cross hybridization going on with different styles and flavors.
There's so many different, and same thing in music.
Exactly. Yeah.
And how it's dished out, and who's dishing it out, and how it's the locations and how they do it.
How it's influenced, and you know.
Like I wonder if Transylvania, you know, has some hot vampire chicks hanging out and doing bottle service or something. Here's your fucking blood. Whoa. All right, Transylvania. And then they're throwing Du Hast on the, whoa, I didn't expect that. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
So, you know, what's great about it is the last episode showed that was possible. And I think we didn't plan for that. I think that was organic. Again, I think this community, you know, for us, you know, and we haven't done the show together for 2 weeks. Yeah. But the show's, it went on.
It went on, yeah.
It went on, and I think, you know, like we were talking earlier, one of the first episodes, you were saying, you know, anything is possible. You know, working with you, you're like MacGyver, right? Where I was like, hey, dude, we need this is kind of dark here, and we're like 1 minute from going live, and you're like, hold on, you rig it, and we got lights, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot of similarities in what, you know, and what this, our process and how we do things, and I really believe that, like, you know, we've been given a tremendous fucking gift and opportunity, and I don't.
Yeah, and expressing it to people in a lot of different ways.
Well, a lot of people, you know, and my family don't really understand it. And a lot of people are like, when are you going to make money? This and that. And it's like, you know.
Some people don't get it.
They don't. But you know what? Here's a funny thing. You know, I was watching Gary Vee, who's worth, I don't know, over 100 million. He makes 100K easily, and this is documented. You know, for somebody books him for a convention, a talk, yeah. And there's so many ways that he could be making money, and instead of just being Gary Vee, a figure, you know, an online social media figure. But he talks about this, and it's like, okay, it's fucking awesome that somebody that is at the helm of this whole thing, that understands what this new ecosystem, this new global culture, this new online global culture is about. Because we're at the fucking forefront, and people that are making fun of us and thinking that we're crazy now, in about 5 to 10 years from now, they're gonna have their own personal pages and profiles and selling shit online, and you know what I mean?
Especially, the way that the market's going in the marketplace. I agree with you.
It's like pagers. Gary said this too. Like, you know, people that had pagers back then, they were reluctant to get a cell phone, and I was one of them. And I was like, somebody needs to get a hold of me. I have a fucking pager. Why the hell would I pay this much more for a fucking cell phone? I have my desktop. I have a laptop. Why the hell would I get a phone that I'm doing this when I'm doing this?
Yeah.
You know, and if somebody needs to get a hold of me, they get a hold of me. That's it. But guess what? You know, thousands of dollars later, I'm like you and I are on the most cutting edge cell phone there is.
Always.
And
every year.
It is, and that, you know, I think, I think he's on it, and what
and he does a lot of free content, so he's not monetizing off
of
content,
that.
But he's using the content to monetize.
Well, what's more?
Eventually, because he's giving value to people, and then people want that value in person, and that's his model, you know. That was actually my model for a long time. That was how I started.
Well, you know, and
then I kind of moved models a little bit, but.
This is the model of a lot of successful DJs.
Yeah.
When I started 12 years ago,
I
DJed for free.
Exactly. I was just gonna say, if you think fucking DJs are making money right at the beginning, and especially in the first couple years, you're fucking crazy. I remember when I got like $150 from Giant.
Totally.
And I was like, swinging my big dick around. You know what I mean? Like, I made $150 tonight for an hour to DJ.
No, that's huge actually, because a lot of people getting paid at all is first of all, a lot of people don't understand, as in the music world, and the same thing with this world, getting the opportunity is fucking pay.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's like
the opportunity is pay. Because it's the experience. You learn, shit happens, weird shit. I had a residency at a fucking restaurant in Corona Del Mar, and he would pay me $100 a week, one night a week, but I would have to play like 6 hours.
Totally, right.
But that was the best way I got into DJing, because every week I had to be there. I made a little money, and I was there, and I would read the crowd, and the crowd I could see they didn't like it or not. That's just invaluable, man. You know, and I think that's a weird time right now where it's like, especially people who come from 9 to 5s or, you know, traditional business models. We're in a new business world right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? It's important for people to realize, like, tomorrow it will be 6 years to the fucking day I've done a video every day. Okay? Tomorrow, April 10th, 2012 was the day I started. So.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, 5,000 something videos.
That's fucking huge.
5,000 videos.
Dude,
so when you get to that spot, you realize, now did I monetize off all 5,000 videos? I did. And most of them were the free ones.
Right.
That gave the best information.
No, it's, you know, I think the other thing was, when I watch your content, and this goes into the next thing I really wanted to touch base on, was your spirituality, your astrology show, and the side of you, which at first I didn't, it's so weird, I couldn't make the connection, but now it's clear as fucking sky. Music and spirituality go hand in hand, and they've been going hand in hand since literally the beginning of time. People have been tapping into spirituality through music.
Music was the door opener for spirituality for me. It wasn't the other way around.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, and now that that's why this whole thing organically, strangely, in some weird way, it did make sense in my mind in the beginning. It felt right, but it just logically, I couldn't piece it together because I just, I don't know everything. It's just, you know what I mean? But for some reason, it felt right, and I was like, let's just roll with it. Let's just roll with it. And a lot of people were like, this is weird. Why are you doing a DJ show, music show with somebody that's an astrologer? And why the hell are you not playing music on the show?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, dude, if you want to fucking watch a DJ show, play music, there's a gazillion better
Insomniac
ones.
just tried that, and
Yeah.
I was laughing because they're only getting 300 to 400 views at a time. I'm like, the biggest freaking festival provider in the world, and they're putting up DJs who are just all ego.
Well, it's all saturated.
All ego, though.
There's
It's not even that. It's ego. They're like, think they're like, oh, look at me, I'm live right now on Insomniac's page. I'm cool because I made it here. It's like, I don't want to watch that.
There's a lot of that's the thing right now. I think is there's some people that have an audience, and I think they get just because you have an audience doesn't mean that you're gonna be automatically everything you put out is gold.
No, it's gold. Yeah.
So I see a lot of misuse of that right now, and I think with what we're doing again, it is. Again,
it's just different, and it's going to take people some time to get used to it, and people are going to, that's what I noticed, because after 6 years of doing content every day, people used to think I was crazy, including I found out this weekend, because I hung out with my roommate Tyler. I saw Tyler this weekend in Vegas, and he was telling me, did you know when we moved out that our neighbors thought you were fucking insane? Because I was outside recording videos on the patio every day. So it's like, you find all this stuff out that you didn't know. Like, it's good. It's good if people don't like it or they don't think it's right or you're doing something right. The other thing I want to say, I wanted to bring up my tours that this year on May 16th, I'll be gone until June 20th, and we're going around America. I'm doing, of course, astrology talks, but at the end of each night, I'm doing a live DJ mix with the people.
Right. That's awesome.
And it's going to be, it's about connecting with people and.
How long have you been doing that? Like the talk and the DJ show?
Oh. Technically, I actually started before even doing the content. That was my first content. I don't know if you remember, when I used to DJ with you, I did a radio show called Where's the Culture on WTC House Radio. And I would do a live show, and then that moved into something called Astro Mingle, which I started in 2009.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember
now. It was on
now.
Ustream.
Yeah.
I used to DJ and talk astrology.
That's cool.
So I've been doing it for almost 10 years. And then I've brought it to the public now where people, it's crazy. I've sold hundreds of tickets already in like a week and a half. And I'm almost sold out around the whole country. And I'm doing the whole show by myself, bought the venues myself, selling the tickets myself, no promoters, just me, bringing my own equipment, bringing all this stuff. We're touring, bringing my own tour bus, and just doing it all on my own.
Well, 10 plus years from the moment you started DJing, and then later on vlogging, and then to where it's at today with this show. One thing led to another, and that experience, it constantly compounded, right?
Yeah.
It led to, okay, like you accomplished this, and then new ideas came up, and you're like, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this. And the show your show actually, it just kept expanding. I think that's
it's just taking parts of everything over time, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll eventually know that EG is going to be part of a tour that I do.
Totally.
Whenever that time comes. Because right now my tour is just a mixture of everything, finally starting to come together of all the years of content I've put out. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It
takes time.
Yeah.
I think people are expecting, especially in the VC world, which actually the VC world's being killed out by ICOs now, by coin fucking. Everybody's making a fucking coin. Maybe you and I need to come up with a fucking coin.
Right.
But it's like, that's the thing is VCs are expecting, or they're actually called, if you get really deep in investment, accelerators. They want you instantly, here's your cash, and we need to see an instant fucking return. And if they don't see that, they're out. And then there's incubators where it's like incubating, I don't know, it goes back to kindergarten. Incubating fucking little eggs and chickens.
Well, I think that's what Pete Tong was. I think he was,
He was an incubator.
Yeah. That whole model.
This show's an incubator. It takes some time because it's like finding our way, setting a whole new precedent, starting a new understanding and building it and mixing spirituality is a big thing now. And music is spiritual. Like
Totally.
I should have brought the book, but like even goes all the way back to the Indians. Like everybody knows that music and spirituality are deeply connected. If you're not listening to music that's raising your vibration but lowering it, you're going to be living in a really shitty place.
No, I think what you've done, obviously creating your own ecosystem with spiritual dance, is very similar to Tomorrowland, to EDC. Because if you think about it, well, there's a couple of, I think, phenomenons that kind of happened in the last 10 years or so, or 20 years maybe. Number one, there's been a decline of institutionalized religion, right?
Yeah.
Like people don't really respect, like, the new generation doesn't
Right.
really believe in church anymore, and they don't, and everybody's moving a little bit more towards yoga and Buddhism, where it's more like a way of life, right?
Right.
It's more about philosophies. That's what plur really is. That's the whole
Yeah.
EDM culture really was. It's really simple. It's just plur.
Well,
you know?
the institutions kind of demonized rave culture,
right,
too.
right, and that yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's just the truth.
Which kind of created which kind of strengthened the culture even more because of that, right?
Well, and there's nothing wrong with the institutions, I just think they're selling too.
Totally, absolutely.
So only selling Christian rock,
yeah. No,
or the group that plays for the church, or anybody who only sings about Christ only.
It's
You know what I mean? I haven't seen a Christ DJ yet. That would be somebody wants to make some money, I'm giving you the best secret right now. Be Jesus's DJ.
That would be funny. Yeah.
Start talking sermons with the Bible over your DJ. I guarantee you that person will kill it. I just gave away the deepest secret in the world.
But I mean, just to kind of go back to the whole thing with spiritual dance and the big festivals, I think those are kind of like the new.
Yeah,
like,
those are the
like
new holy gatherings.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like Burning Man, but Burning Man's not about music only.
Yeah.
It's about art, and it's about how humans interact. So Burning Man just sold tickets 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And so if you go to try and buy tickets, they actually give you a questionnaire. Mm-hmm. And if you miss the questions, you can't buy tickets.
That's awesome.
And then to make a profile, they ask you even more questions, which you need a profile to buy tickets. Mm. And they have a whole community guidebook that you have to read and everything. And if you miss the questions, they go, sorry, you can't join.
I mean, that's awesome, and it's not at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, it's
well, they're trying to also make it not just like trendy either or whatever, but at the same time, they're also pushing people away.
Exactly.
Like, it's a little bit like Trump building a wall.
The only thing the only thing with something like that is like you just got to start again almost, because now it's become institutionalized.
I've had dreams of this, dude, and it might sound crazy, but there is going to be a fucking festival in the future that is going to not be like any of the ones we're seeing right now.
I agree.
And I think it's going to be like Burning Man, but mixed with more technology. And I think it's going to be out in the middle of nowhere, and I think it's going to be an emphasis on a sunrise, a sunset, like there's going to be more emphasis on big connection with technology and interaction with people, and people not worrying about their day-to-day lives and realities, and not so many rules. Because even though Burning Man, they say, is all about exchange and helping each other out, there's so many rules. Yeah. It's like, and then there's like, you're not wearing that look, so guess what? Like, you're not a burner. It's like,
it's like
if I show up fucking in a suit to Burning Man, which would probably be a first, like a normal suit, not one that looks all
artsy,
Mad Max-ish, right? All Burning Man really is to me is like the new Mad Max with fun. I'm not putting it down. I'm just saying like it's become trendy. Just like Coachella is like, what should I wear to Coachella and look like this and go watch fucking Beyonce? That's actually going down this weekend. by the way.
Pretty much all festivals, and I think we're
Beyonce
definitely-
is at Coachella this
I
weekend.
know, right?
As an old Coachella person, all the old Coachella people are like gone. They don't want to go anymore. And they're the ones who kind of created or went to the Burning Man area.
Totally.
Because Coachella used to be that. And Burning Man used to be really weird. Now Burning Man's come kind of more center to kind of get people, but then now they're denying people, so it's kind of fucked up. And then the Coachella people are not Coachella people. It's like people who just love mainstream music that want to go fucking drink and do drugs for 3 days.
But all those people are still out there, and where do they find each other? Here, on this space.
Yeah, they do.
This online space that we're
And I
creating.
don't think
this
any of them are
community.
wrong or right. It's just, I think, yeah, and I think EDC is one of the better ones just because it's kind of held its natural state and hasn't changed and doesn't require much from you except to just show up. Like they accept everybody, and so I'm a big lover of Insomniac.
They've been doing it right.
They've been doing it right, and they keep the talent good, and they even bring back old talent from 10, 12 years ago of raves, and even though they might not make a main stage, they at least make a stage and respect them.
Yeah.
So, you know, when it comes to festivals, I'd say EDC is still one of the best just because of that. And any Insomniac event, I'll be honest with you, is top notch, well done, really done well. But
yeah, man. I mean,
I think we're in a weird space in all of it. I think clubs are in a weird space from Vegas to Japan, all the way to festivals like Coachella to Burning Man and the weird oppositions of them. You know what I mean? Then you got like Lucidity Festival that was just this last weekend. There's a lot of festivals now that are, you know, it's like it's getting so specific based. But where is there going to be a place for everybody? That's going to be the big one.
totally. No,
and that's what Coachella used to be.
Right.
And they still try to do it that way, but everybody knows it's not that way anymore. There's no rock headliners for 2018.
No.
Not like rock, you know, like it's like sad.
The gap is really huge between all the different generations, right?
I know.
And then
But
that's
there's
what we're
got to
trying
be a
do.
place. Like, why can't there be a stage of 70s and 80s rock, and then a stage of grunge 90s, a stage of hip hop R&B, a stage of rap, a stage of underground rap, and then a dance stage that would be in tiers throughout the weekend. Like, house is going to be on Saturday night. Trance is going to be on Sunday night. Friday night's going to be more open format. Like, there's so many. I know that would be crazy, but I don't know. I see it in the future.
No, Coachella, Lollapalooza.
Disneyland does it.
Well, but you know what?
You can go on a kid ride, or you can go on a fucking roller coaster and do a loop.
I mean, that took about close to 100 years, but it's definitely possible. And I think with Electronic Generation, it's the same concept. We're here to unite the clans, right?
Yeah.
We're here to bring everyone together.
But the only way to do that is bring up everything too.
Exactly.
We're not afraid to bring it up,
Yeah.
you know.
No, it's that, and that's a huge thing. And back to Insomniac, I think they nailed it because
They're the closest to it.
They're the closest. Well, number one, because they're focused on just like dance music, right? They're not focused on rock. They're not focused on different genres or different eras. Just electronic dance music. And the other thing, and then they break it up into like dream state and different categories.
Yeah.
But they also have a narrator. They have Pasquale. And so I don't see that with Coachella.
Well, and
or
Giant
Burning
used
Man.
to do that with the city.
Giant,
What was it called?
Giant Village.
Giant Village. That was they had the Killers, Pete,
Paul
Paul Oakenfold, Deep,
Totally.
did the house tent. Like that was.
No, it was.
Come
prime.
back, Giant Village.
It was definitely prime. There's a few promoters. I was hanging out with Dave Dean. He's, who is behind Giant, and hopefully we'll get him on the show.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I know exactly where you're coming from. I think for
The new
whatever
kids
reason,
on the block
yeah,
need.
they do.
They
need
need
it. They
to
need it.
realize,
They need
or
this.
there needs to be a place for them that got it like we got it.
Yeah.
Because for us that got it, we can see where it's missing.
It's
sucks.
crazy. No, it's crazy, and it's not being nostalgic or anything like that.
Yeah, it's just trying, like,
Yeah.
I was just going to use a really bad example, but I'm going to use it. Like, ecstasy 10 years ago is nothing compared to the shit you get today. Like, right? Like, so it's like, I know it's a very real, harsh analogy, but like, I'm saying that I want people to experience ecstasy, or it's like LSD in the 60s compared to today. Like,
Totally.
that revolution I would wish for people to have.
Yeah.
Now, but they're not having it because the LSD is different and the people aren't into it and the culture's not there. It's like wanting to bring that culture back to people and to experience it the way we did, which is why we've been in it so long. Because who knows, it's almost an experiment. How long will the people that are newly into dance music today stay? Because there's a lot of people that were in there with me during the time who left.
Yeah.
A lot. And there's not a lot of people that stayed. So I think it's a good way to end the show.
Yeah.
And think about next week on, and maybe, you guys should put down. Did you stay in it, or were you always just kind of there or not?
Yeah, no, I definitely, I mean, my main thing is I would love to hear, I hear a lot of feedback afterwards, but I would like to hear it live, and I'd like to hear more, questions if you guys, because I talked to a lot of the people, on just like through direct message and just like in person, but definitely I would love to hear more about this kind of stuff. If we can get everyone all together on the same page, I think we can make some shit happen.
Totally.
So,
well, it's a great show. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being on EG. We're here every Monday, 6 p.m.
See you guys next week.
Electronic Generation or weare3x.com, right?
That's it. Yep.
Boom.
All right.
Late.
All right, guys.